truly amazing. This gas reignites burning ember, and the other test was interesting too. It does not turn water into an acid. Thank you, Raheem. Super interesting. Let's try to identify this. Let's try to name it. Let's try to make sense of it. Let's follow along with Priestley. So after working through the afternoon, Priestley writes excitedly in his study by candlelight, "As suspected, this gas is chemically unlike anything I've ever seen. It is certainly not the phlogiston-filled gas produced by a fire. It is not the gas produced when we exhale." He knows that, you know that. In fact, it seems to behave exactly the opposite to these phlogiston-filled gases. Instead of putting out a flame, this new air makes the flame burn even brighter and can reignite a burnt splint. It has no effect on pH. Furthermore, it can keep animals alive for a longer period of time than fresh air. It is as though this is purer than pure air. Up to now, we've always considered regular air to be a big sponge which accepts phlogiston in order to keep things burning. But if there's a gas which is a better sponge than regular air, perhaps regular air already contains some phlogiston. Yes, air is a mixture with some phlogiston, but not yet saturated. Burning and breathing saturate the available air with phlogiston. My mystery gas, which takes so much longer to saturate, must be a form of air with the least amount of phlogiston possible. It is dephlogisticated air. Yes, that's catchy. Priestley sits back in his chair, rubs his hand, which is aching from the intensity of his writing. His mind jumps back to one of the fears he had developed while first investigating burning. If burning, and you might recall this, if burning and breathing are filling the air with phlogiston, filling the atmosphere with phlogiston, will there come a time when all the available air, the entire atmosphere, is filled up with phlogiston? At that point in time, all life would cease to exist. So this is a worry he has. There must be some, but he's reasoning through this idea that this is probably not the case. There must be some naturally occurring chemical reaction that removes phlogiston from the air. This process may very well capture the phlogiston and put it back into burnable materials. Just then, Mary walks in. It must be tea time. Fresh mint tea? Priestley stares at the bright green leaves floating in the cup. Something taking phlogiston from the air and putting it into burnable materials. The image of his wife in the garden picking the mint in the burning heat of the sun, the enormous willow tree blowing in the air under the very same intense heat of the sun all day, every day. Suddenly, an image of the willow's wood burning in the stove, heating this cup of tea. He takes a sip. An experiment for another time. So I think Joseph Priestley's getting very close to identifying some major cycles that keep our global ecosystem in check and keep this earth livable for humans and all other living things. And it's just interesting to watch these ideas slowly germinate as he kind of just stares into a mint leaf or contemplates why it's feels so nice to be in his garden, but also thinking about the gas that humans exhale and the gas that comes out of fire and what they do and what can survive in that type of gas and what can survive in this new type of vital gas that he just created, or what he now calls dephlogisticated air. So all these ideas are circling around in his head, and we'll see if we can make sense of it ourselves.